Family Guy was never really my favorite show growing up because, you know, it insists upon itself. I do not care for the Family Guy. I did really like the first 8 seasons. I thought those were really good, really funny, but everything after that, it just kind of went all the way down. I don't know, just something about the comedy just dropped off and it felt like they were leading more into cutaways. The only way that I could indulge in Family Guy is if it's 3 a.m., I'm on YouTube and I see 4-hour Family Guy cutaway compilation, because watching the show with the cutaways is very hard. But when you're just watching the cutaways, it's kind of funny. That is the only way I could really indulge in the show. So I decided to ask you all a question. What are the worst episodes of Family Guy? And I pinpointed 4 of them that you guys said the most, and I'm gonna be going through all of them and seeing if they're actually that bad. And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe because I upload almost every single day and you don't want to miss it. Also, if you want a place where you can talk about your favorite games, movies, shows, all that good stuff, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at Family Guy's worst. By far, the episode that was requested the most for me to take a look at when considering the worst episodes in the show was Seahorse Party. And just going off that title alone, it didn't really give me much of an idea. Are there gonna be seahorses? Perhaps seashells? I don't really know what I'm getting into, and upon watching this episode, I could definitely see why people were so pissed off at it, because it just has so much wrong with it, like genuinely so much wrong. The episode opens with there being a hurricane in Quahog, so they're all stuck inside. Big whoop, big things going on here. And then we get a cutaway with G.I. Jose, which is just, I think, making fun of a Hispanic stereotype in which they'll use cat litter on wounds.
An open wound, get some dirt or kitty litter and rub it in there to stop the bleeding.
I don't know how realistic that is. I don't know if that cutaway is just very racist or if that's accurate. I don't know. I'm not really in tune with the putting cat litter on wounds. Either way, we cut to them all trying to just enjoy themselves in the house, and Brian has some shrooms, some good old mushrooms. He's gonna be seeing some wonky things, and he takes them. Okay, so we're off to a decent start on Brian's plotline. I'm invested in that. And then we get to one of the biggest issues I had with this episode, and that is Peter is very annoying in this episode. Sometimes it's charming, but some of the things they do, like, genuinely, I don't get the point of this. How are you sitting in the writing room and just going like, like, oh man, let's have Peter. Okay, so Peter, it's gonna be a realistic joke, okay? He's gonna sit there and he's gonna make phlegm noises. Like, is this funny? Does this make you wanna sit through my video? Hang on, guys, I'm gonna make some phlegm noises. Yeah, that's basically what he does, and it goes on for like a solid minute. And I completely understand the joke. It's supposed to be like realistic comedy, like, oh, it's going on for so long that it's funny. But I was just thinking, like, you could have done something else. Like, you know, you got an entire team of animators. You can pretty much do whatever you want. An entire team of writers. You could tell any jokes you want. You could do whatever you want in this world, because even though they live in a town, there's basically no rules. But no. Let's just waste time with Peter doing nonsense. Yippee. That was okay. And then Brian, he starts tweaking because he's just tripping balls. He's seeing crazy stuff, and eventually leads to him going into the bathroom. Stewie walks up there and he's cutting off his ear, and he actually does it, which, you know, I've had my bad trips. At least I never cut off my ear, but still, this is definitely something that could happen to you. It's very realistic, the type of scenario that you could have when doing horrible stuff like this. And Brian's entire plotline where he starts tweaking and freaking out, it hit it right here, man. It's very rough to watch him go through all of this. And I don't like their use of cutaways in this episode. I wish that they would lean more away with it when they're trying to tell a more serious plotline, because Brian just cut off his ear and they have to tell a joke about when he saw Lady Gaga's vagina.
Got through seeing Lady Gaga naked. Okay, 5 minutes, Miss Vagina Big.
What? Oh my god, look at the size of that vagina! Like, I get the joke, I understand, and like, it almost made me laugh, but I don't know, maybe stick to telling a decent plotline. I mean, I know Family Guy, for the most part, after you get into the later seasons, it's just, hey Peter, remember the time? Remember the time when we were funny, Peter? Do you remember that time? Peter! That's just a lot of the stuff they do, which is why I like cutaway compilations, because I can just get all of the cutaway without losing the actual substance of the episode. And this episode is handicapped heavily by cutaways, especially when it gets more serious. But either way, Brian starts just losing it, and we even get a Time Bandits reference. You remember that movie from way back when, where Stewie is like hovering over Brian's bed, and he's like rubbing him, and he's like, okay, Stewie's here, and then he's like, you stole the map, return it to me, and then Brian starts running away and like travels through time. That was a cool reference. You know, Time Bandits reference in the Big 25 in this economy. I was all for it. That was great. So then we also have our other plotline with Meg, where she actually starts to stand up for herself, just calling out Chris for being a bad brother, Lewis for being a bad mom, all of that stuff, just actually pointing out all of their flaws. And I actually enjoyed this. I liked seeing Meg stand up for herself and be like, you know what, Lewis, you're going around just being a dirty, stinky whore. I know you slept with the president, all that stuff. You're just being awful.
Is this coming from my role model mother? The shoplifter, the drug addict, the porn star, the whore who let Gene Simmons and Bill Clinton go to town on her?
I was all for that. I enjoyed it. At the same time, we also have Brian's plotline continuing, where he actually starts having a full-on bad trip nightmare. And I'm not going to compare it to mine, but all the stuff is genuinely stuff that can happen to you, and it is so bad. So for people who are watching this and being like, oh man, it can't be that bad. He can't be in hell getting stung by bees. It totally can, man. It totally can.
Wanna have sex?
I don't know how much he took, because he just, but damn, man, it looks rough what he is going through. Visually, I think it's a lot of fun, if not a little bit frightening, but still, all that stuff with the Brian plotline, I was actually fine with. You know, I get it, he's tripping balls, what else kind of story you're gonna tell? He eventually mellows out and he joins the family during Meg's big angry moment. And I enjoy these for the most part, you know, where Meg is just laying into everybody. She eventually gets to Peter, and then somebody's all like, this is like an Irish bar fight. And like mid Meg just having one of her most emotional moments in the series, I'm guessing, it just cuts to a broccoli and a Brussels sprout just beating the shit out of each other. Why? What's the point of this? I don't understand why you feel the need to add in a cutaway at that very moment. I just don't get it, but whatever. Meg is laying into Peter really good, but I don't know, I blame myself for laughing at this because I've been shitting on Peter this entire time, and I wasn't enjoying him, but I just, there's this one scene where Peter, or Lewis and Lois and Meg are arguing, and Peter's like, my money's on Harry Potter, and then Meg is like, what, you think that's a funny joke, Tubby? You think that's funny? And Peter's like, I don't know, I thought it was a little bit funny.
My money's on Harry Potter over there.
Oh, you think that's funny, fat ass?
Well, I don't know if it's funny. I think it's clever. I mean, you got the big glasses there.
I don't know, Peter as a character is inherently really funny because of how stupid he is and his stupid ass voice, but either way, objectively, it does take you out of it a little bit. And so everybody gets super angry, and they all start turning on each other. There's another cutaway where it's a black woman and she's taking off all of her rings to fight an Italian man, and that's the joke. Again, a pointless cutaway. You have a serious episode. I'm pretty sure people can be invested without a cutaway for more than 5 minutes. Just roll with it. So yeah, that took me out of it again. And then Meg has this realization when everybody starts turning on each other that she has to be a martyr for everybody, or else this family is gonna fall apart, which I think is the stupidest revelation that you could ever have. I understand the identity of Family Guy is, oh, Meg, get out of here, Meg, you ugly, stupid whore. You know, I understand that the majority of the time they're supposed to be egging on Meg, like Meg is this vile creature, but why not, you know, have an ending where instead of everybody just switching up and being like, you know what, Meg, we do hate you. You are the problem. You are evil. Because Meg is all like, I have to be the lightning rod for my family. I have to be the lightning rod so I absorb all of this hatred, which is just a stupid way to do it. Why can't everybody just, I don't know, be nice to her. It doesn't even have to change the status quo. Like, you could be like, you know what, Meg, you're pretty cool, and then they all play a board game, they treat her nicely, and then it doesn't have to be canonical. Just the next episode, you could have Peter just, I don't know, fart in her face, poop on her, do whatever Peter's gotta do to harass Meg, but you don't have to change the status quo. Just have a happy ending for the episode. I feel like that's where a lot of the hatred for this episode comes from, because Meg just deciding that she has to be this martyr. She has to be this one person that everybody can lay into after finally, like, standing up for herself. That sucks. That's an awful way to end the episode, and that just, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. I can't enjoy that at all. So I can completely understand why this episode is so hated. The Brian plotline is decent, but overall not the most interesting or captivating thing ever, and it ends within the first 10 minutes, and then the latter half is just Meg laying into them with crappy cutaways randomly in the middle, and then a horrible, awful ending that basically is just, Meg, you're a vile, awful creature, but you're actually right, so let's just keep treating you like a vile, awful creature. It's just not that great. If I was to personally rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 3 out of 10. I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of the newer Family Guy, so I don't know if it's as bad as that stuff, but just this entire episode had so much wrong with it. A awful ending, awful cutaways, and it just feels like it could have been a lot better if they stuck to the story they wanted to tell and just actually dive deep into that and then had a better ending. That ending just sours a lot of it. The next episode that I'm going to be taking a look at is the episode Family Heir, and dear Lord, is this just what all of modern Family Guy is? Because it genuinely feels like, I don't know, the writers aren't even the ones writing jokes. It feels like they have like 6 people just chained up in the basement of wherever they're making Family Guy, the Family Guy headquarters, and they go down there and they're like, why not funny? Why not funny? And just start beating them until they just splurge out every single cutaway. Because when I'm watching this, they'll say a sentence or two, and then it's a cutaway to nonsense. A sentence or two, a cutaway to nonsense. A sentence or two, a cutaway to nonsense. And it doesn't even feel like it's in good taste. It genuinely feels like, okay, listen, we know that half of these aren't even funny. Let's just spit out as many as we can without telling actual jokes, and something's gonna make you laugh. And don't get me wrong, a couple things, they did make me laugh in this episode, but that was like 2 out of I don't know how many just random nonsensical jokes appeared in the episode. It's like finding a shiny Pokemon. It's very rare that it's gonna make you laugh, and if you can laugh at all these, I guarantee you're having a fantastic time. But woo, it's hard, man. So this episode just starts off with Chris wanting to spend time with Peter. He really wants to spend some time with him, and Peter is just immediately like, oh Chris, I can't spend time with you. I gotta go to my insanity practice. And then it just cuts to Peter wearing just insane jacket. I can't remember what that's called right now. I'm blanking, but either way, he's just freaking out in an insane asylum room.
Wheels in my head, voices, angry fish.
How's he doing?
Not good.
Okay, that was cool, I guess. And then we get another cutaway about unspoken bonds, because Peter's saying that he would rather not talk to anybody, and then the guy just jumps out of the car. Like, what is going on? Why do we need a cutaway after every single thing? It's genuinely so hard to follow an episode sometimes. They're all sitting down at dinner, and Chris isn't there, and then Peter's all like, oh, sorry, Lois, I gotta go check on my hairless twin in the shed. He goes out there, and Peter has a hairless twin in the shed.
Close the door, the moonlight burns. It's almost Christmas.
Why? Does it explain why? No, it's just nonsense for the sake of nonsense. Why? Well, what is the point? I don't get it. At least when other shows are doing nonsensical plots, it at least relates to what's going on. Peter having a hairless twin, why does that exist? I don't get it. I don't understand it, but whatever. I guess. And then we get a couple of stuff with Chris going to spend time with his grandpa who just broke his leg. And the first interaction they have, Chris jorks his hog. I'm talking jorking his hog.
You can do it basically whenever you're not doing something else.
Cool. Hey, next time I want to try it with my hand.
He's jorking it. Because his grandpa, I don't even remember his grandpa's name, Mr. Peter Schmidt or something. He's all like, oh God, I wish I could just release. This is exactly what I needed to bust. He's just asking Chris, and Chris, it just cuts away to after they already did it. And he's all like, man, thanks Chris, I would have used my own hand, but you just did so well. What? With his own grandpa? Why are we resorting to incest? Why is that? What? No. And then the incest jokes just don't stop from there. He's talking, Chris returns, and then Peter, he goes outside, and hairless twin Peter takes over his body.
Hello, family.
But of course, that doesn't actually relate to the episode. It's just a random joke thrown in. Again, why? I don't understand the point. I don't understand anything that's happening. There was a birth certificate joke that actually was kind of funny. He rips up something. I don't even remember what it is. There's just so much nonsense that it throws at you that I just watched this episode and I don't remember what happens. But Peter rips up his birth certificate and then he starts fading away and he's like, oh, now I see nothing but fire. That actually made me laugh.
Birth certificate.
Oh no. There's no light. There's only fire.
Again, it's just one joke out of the already 20 that they've told that actually makes me laugh. And I enjoy some comedy. I watch cartoons for the majority of the time. Hell, they don't tell as many jokes in one single episode of like regular show as they do already in the first 5 minutes of this. It's just absurd what they're trying to do. It genuinely feels like brain rot, but the brain rot is a bunch of 30-year-olds all sitting in a room being like, you know what else would be funny? Let's make him do another random fucking nonsense. Oh boy, now let's make Chris and Peter have an incest plot line. Oh no, bro, they're not laughing yet. Let's add 10 more cutaways. It's so dumb. We get a lot of stuff with Peter trying to suck up to Chris, and then I think we get a Peter and Meg incest joke where Peter cleans Chris's room and then Meg walks in wearing a bath towel, and I think it's supposed to be like sexual tension. I don't know, dude. It kind of makes me angry. So Peter proposes to Chris, and Chris says yes, because of course. And then we get to the second part of the episode that made me laugh, the only other part, where they're driving away and about to marry my son, and Joe looks at his son, he's like, hey Peter's getting married. Oh, son. And then his son's like, no, Dad. And he's like, I don't know what to believe in anymore.
No, Dad.
I don't know what normal is anymore.
Oh, I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe it's just because of Patrick Warburton's voice, but either way, that was funny. And then, yeah, everything after that, just some nonsense. They have a wedding reception. They don't get married. I hate my life. I don't understand why any of this was made. Like, people have to sit in a room and green light this stuff. I say this in a lot of my videos that there's a team of writers. And it's one thing to be burnt out, like, yeah, you gotta produce 20 episodes of a season, but you're telling me somebody was sitting there and somebody pitched, okay, so what if we have PETA? What if we have PETA and he really wants to get his son's will? What if we make a bunch of incest jokes and in between that we have 20 different cutaways? That's genius, John! Oh my god! Incest! Now elaborate. What's the joke with the incest? Oh, nothing? It's just saying that you want to do dirty, nasty things to each other? Or jorking your grandpa's hog? That's the funniest stuff I've ever heard, man. Oh, this is gonna go down as an all-timer. I don't get it. I don't understand the love for it. I didn't like this. You know, I know that there's gonna be a lot of people who comment on this video saying, wow, all these episodes you talked about actually are some of my favorite episodes. And I want to know what you get from here. Are these the type of things where you just turn off your brain and you're like, the dad wants to do his son? Because I just can't relate to it. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 1 out of 10. I don't think there was anything good about this episode. It made me laugh twice in 22 minutes, and Family Guy's supposed to make you laugh a bunch, and genuinely, I don't know why. Like, I'm fine with the cutaways sometimes, but when you do them every 30 seconds, it feels like you have no trust in the actual story that you're trying to tell. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. The next episode that I'm going to be taking a look at is the episode Screams of Silence, and in this episode it begins with Quagmire not showing up for a fishing trip, so Joe and Peter are on their own, and I actually like the beginning of this episode. I thought it was fun, with Peter being all like, oh, I've never hung out with Joe before, how do you make casual conversation? And Joe's thinking the same thing, and he eventually goes like, the world is 2/3 water. And then Peter's like, this guy's all right. I actually like the beginning, you know, just good, nonsensical fun. And then they go to look for Quagmire, and he was jorking it too hard, jorking his pork way too hard, while also using autoerotic asphyxiation. So he almost dies. Which leads to his sister, Brenda, coming to see him, and immediately we get to see that her boyfriend, Jeff, is very abusive. Very, very abusive. It's like kind of hard to watch. When they go back to the house, I was genuinely thinking, I even wrote down in my notes for the episode here, holy shit, this makes me uncomfortable, because it's actually that bad.
You fat, ugly bitch! If today wasn't your birthday...
Jeff, please, you're being...
What? What am I being? Crazy?
It feels real with all the things that he's saying to her. Some of it's a bit silly with the things that he's demanding or desiring, but he's hitting her, he's abusing her, and it genuinely made me a little bit uncomfortable. So I thought, okay, this episode's gonna be a little bit serious, right? No, because then we get this cutaway where Peter's playing the guitar for an Iraq lobster.
Death to America and butter sauce.
That's great. You know, I mean, if it was just in a cutaway compilation, I'd probably enjoy that. I can't even lie. I'm not gonna hide anything in the shadows here. But when it's in an episode that is tackling something so serious, it kind of, you know, makes it look like it's making a joke of really serious topics. And don't get me wrong, I am okay with dark humor. I love me some dark humor. Those reels on Instagram where it's like somebody getting beat and it's like Freddy Fazbear dialing 911 or something, I think those can be funny when it's told in good taste and doesn't make it seem like it's making light of the situation, because they're dealing with something genuinely awful here, but the things that they try to do with it are so bad. Like, Peter tells Lois to go and see Brenda, and they go to this restaurant, and Brenda is confiding to her that bad things are happening, and she's just like, close your menu. What are you talking about? Close your menu. And then the waiter misses them, and she's just like, oh, now we have to wait to order, when she's trying to confide in you that something serious is happening. And it just feels like, I mean, I get it, it's Family Guy, it's satire, it's supposed to make fun of this stuff, but when you're making it feel that real, and Brenda is truly a character suffering that much, and you have jokes like this, then it's kind of a little bit off-putting. They even have an intervention for her, and you think, okay, you know, they're gonna get a little bit more serious with it. They don't yet, because Meg is all like, oh, well, you know, he may be beating you, but if you like him, you could change him. Okay. Or Peter throwing a carton of cigarettes in her face and being like, if you like him that much, then smoke this entire pack of cigarettes. What? It's not even funny, man.
So, you like getting beaten, huh? Well, why don't you smoke a whole carton of cigarettes?
Like, that joke isn't even that funny. It's just weird to see. So eventually Quagmire, Joe, and Peter are all sitting in the basement, and they hear Jeff just hitting her for just nonsense, hitting her for just nothing. And they finally realize that they need to waste this bastard, so they all plan to kill him. Okay, that's cool. I'm fine with it. And that's when they finally decide to take this entire episode really serious, which actually made the episode way better. When you're not throwing in nonsensical cutaways to a serious situation or making somebody getting genuinely abused feel like a major joke, then the episode actually got intriguing. And I get it. Again, it's Family Guy. It's supposed to be funny, but these last 5 minutes where they are in this tense situation against Jeff is holding a gun to Quagmire. He takes him out into the forest, and Quagmire gets choked out by Jeff, and then Quagmire gets in the car and is like, I choke myself all the time. That got a chuckle out of me, and that was kind of epic because it relates to Quagmire's character, and it's also funny that he was able to get out of this situation because he's a bit freaky, and then he drives and he kills Jeff. That entire 4 minutes of the episode where it was uninterrupted by stupid ass jokes, and the one joke that they did tell in that situation, it was related to it related to the character, and it was funny, it worked. So when maybe you're tackling a more serious topic, maybe, just maybe, you should get rid of the cutaways for a second, because you have gold. I feel like a lot of people would have responded to this episode a lot more positively if you took out those stupid jokes and just focused on something a little bit more serious. Because every single time they made a joke about this situation, I was like, oh man, like, if you were making it less serious, like, I don't know, if maybe it was a fish who was voiced by the, I don't know, Arnold, and he was all like, I am going to hit you, baby. Oh, you're going to take this fishy slap. Then maybe it would be a little bit more silly, and I would be okay with it. But they made the situation feel so unbelievably real between Brenda and Jeff, with Brenda constantly crying, constantly having bruises, that I was genuinely uncomfortable watching it. And then you have all those jokes, so I'm uncomfortable, yet I also have to hear these jokes that make the situation even more uncomfortable because I still feel bad for Brenda, that it just overall makes the episode a little bit bad. If you view the episode as, oh, it's just dark humor, man, like, you just don't get it, dude, like, maybe you should walk in their shoes and understand that the creators are just trying to be funny. They're not trying to glorify it in any way, which they're not trying to glorify it. It's immediately foreseen as a bad thing, but still, when you make all of these jokes in between, it doesn't help your situation to make the episode any better. At least that's how I view it. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 3 out of 10. Mainly only because of that epic ending where he actually gets killed. He drives the car into him. I actually thought that was very interesting. That was very good. The lack of cutaways made that a lot better, but everything leading up to that was a very serious episode, just splattered with garbage nonsense that really took me out of it. So yeah, overall a very bad episode. I can honestly perfectly see why a lot of people dislike this episode. And the final episode that I'm going to be taking a look at is Stewie is Enceinte, and wow. I wish all of you just didn't suggest this episode. I wish I never had to see this episode. This is one of the worst things that I have ever seen. It was not on my bingo card in my 21 years of life that I would have to watch Stewie Griffin give birth to his bestiality puppies of Brian. Yeah. How's that sound for you, folks? Does that sound like a winner chicken dinner? The best kind of episode you could ever expect? Because to me, well, I'm afraid. I don't know who had to make this. This episode has Stewie feeling like Brian is distant, and so he decides that because Brian is distant, that he needs to take his DNA, and instead of him just making the kids, this could have been interesting if Stewie just made the children, he has to go into a machine and have his own body impregnated. So Stewie the baby is now impregnated with Brian's children.
We could be that kind of family. What do you think? Ooh. Is it dead? You hit me!
God, just somebody in the studio. Man, I don't usually have to do this many knee-slapping jokes in one video, but oh man, when it's just stupidity like this, I'm not having a good time. So Stewie is impregnated with Brian's children. And he starts getting really into it, like they have to go and see a doctor, and God, there's just... Oh man, aren't you a little young to have a baby? Aren't you a little... Why do you have balls? Why do you have balls? God, it's just all those great jokes. There's also a side plot going on about Peter, Brian, Peter, Quagmire, Joe, and Cleveland all wanting to be viral on the internet. That was really boring. There's honestly nothing to say about that. That was really boring. It added nothing to the episode that's already awful. And so... man... So eventually they have a photo shoot for the child. So we get a Stewie Griffin photo shoot while he is impregnated. Again, nothing I really wanted to see, and Brian's giving into it. I don't know why Brian is giving into this when literally earlier in the episode when Stewie told him that he was pregnant, Brian tried to punch the baby in the stomach. So, it's just awful. And then, of course, Stewie gives birth in a car, and we get to hear him giving birth, and it's just everything I could ever hope for in my life. And then we get to see all of their bestiality children with the dog, half human weirdos, and of course, they're all, like, freaky because it's not really supposed to exist that way. And then we do get one thing that I actually did enjoy in the episode, which is the Peter side of the episode, where he's explaining how he took a picture of himself every single day, and there was like a demonic baby in the background, and he got very scared by it. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. And then the episode ends with them realizing that they shouldn't have had these children and they give them away. Yay. I don't know how to feel anymore. I never wanted to see Stewie get impregnated, especially not with Brian's children. Who thought of this as a brilliant idea? Let's do a Stewie plotline where he feels neglected by Brian, so he decides to impregnate himself with Brian's children, and then they do a pregnant baby photo shoot together. Wow. Wow. Society really has peaked, you know? I didn't think it before, but society has come a long way. You know, if you showed the, I actually wonder, like, if I went back to Victorian times and I showed a Victorian child this, what would they think about it? What would they think about a impregnated baby? I don't know. Those are the questions you have to ask. Either way, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life, and I wish I hadn't seen it. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 0. It goes beyond that. This is one of the worst things that I have ever subjected myself to, and I hope to never see anything about this ever again. Man, oh man, I did not think Family Guy could get that awful. I really didn't. Going into this, I was kind of hopeful because, you know, full team of writers, pretty high budget, it's later season stuff. You know, it's bad, but it can't be that bad. Oh man, it was that bad. From characters doing something just so out of place, to literal domestic abuse episodes, to Stewie getting pregnant. There was just everything you could possibly hate in these episodes, and I can fully understand why everyone hates these episodes so unbelievably much. If you would like me to explore more Family Guy episodes that are horrible, please make sure to like and subscribe. I could also do The Cleveland Show, The Simpsons, all that good stuff, and take a look at some of the worst that this world has to offer. So thank you so much for subjecting me to this. I hope entertainment value is there, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.